friends. Welcome to another episode of the MANNSCHRECKS. I'm Sarah.
And I'm JJ. And we're here for a mini episode, a mini-sode, right? Like
based on how much you talk, though, I don't think it will end up being a mini-sode.
We're going to try. All right, that's our goal, though. We're going to try and spit out just a little episode because this week was a little crazy and we didn't quite have the time that we thought we could to get it done. And boy, the nights just slip away, you know?
They do.
So I have a few stories and you have a few stories and we have a topic. And so we'll get it. We'll get it in there. I was trying to think if there's any housekeeping, but there's not really any, right?
Not that I know of.
All right, so you ready to approach the news desk?
Yes.
Oh, and we are joined by our co-host, Maggie, who's just very excited and wanting to grab at things right now.
She may grab some microphones today.
We'll see. Are you ready to approach the news desk?
Yes, you already asked me that.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. A bunch of Amish guys show up to a random inner-city park in Indiana to give some basketballers, quote unquote, that work. So a bunch of Amish people show up and they play basketball in this inner city basketball tournament thing that is happening.
Okay.
And there's all these pictures and they went viral because the guys, they don't show up in basketball shorts. They show up regular clothes, like the long pants, the blue shirts, the suspenders, and the beards. And like, this is the vibe. They didn't wear the hats while they play basketball. But the guys on the sidelines were wearing the hats and the ladies were in the bonnets and the dress. And it's just so funny. And apparently they did really well. They play this as a thing.
It was where? Indiana?
Indiana, yep.
Okay.
In a random inner city park. But so this went viral a couple of days ago. Inner city Indiana. Yes. So the someone took a couple pictures. They don't have any video, but they have like 4 or 5 pictures of the event, and those went viral, right? Mm-hmm. But then, as I went to go find it, it turns out that this actually happens regularly. These Amish people actually are a part of the league. They join this tournament to play basketball with
That's
these.
So crazy.
Like it wasn't like the viral pictures made it sound like the person who posted it, Jamarcus JT Turner, posted and said, Indiana's kind of cool sometimes. Some Amish hoopers pulled up to an inner city park yesterday and gave them that work. Right? So he made it sound like they just happened to be walking by and they grabbed it. But it's actually an organized tournament, and the Amish folks have a team, which is called the Church Pants Ballers.
Oh my gosh. That is so...
It's in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Wow.
And so the story, this news organization from Fort Wayne tracked down the man who put together the tournament. And so it's Rez Gold. He puts on an outdoor tournament at least once a month in the summer. It's not the first time that the Amish team has joined in on the fun. So they've actually done this for a while. Yeah. You can find stories going back all the way to 2019.
Oh, wow.
So it's just caught everyone's eye because of these recent pictures from this year. Mm-hmm. But this is like a thing.
This is not a new thing.
The Church Pants Ballers.
Wow.
Because they wear church pants.
Dress pants. That is so funny. And wow, that's hilarious. I've never even heard of this.
I love it. And he's like, they asked him like, why do you think it went viral? And they're like, well, maybe it's because it's out of the norm and the area and everything. But yeah, they've been here previously. It brings people together, shows you've learned a lot from that. And so that's one good thing about it, though. And then he went on to explain the tournaments are meant to bring the community together, whether it's inner city or countryside.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
That's very fun.
I thought that was a really cute story.
Wow. Very cool. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going to follow.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
There were Amish people playing basketball, the Church Pants Ballers.
All right. So my story is, so there are 7 intriguing new foods at the 2024 Minnesota State Fair, including grilled purple sticky rice. Okay?
What?
So it says the Minnesota State Fair, which is known for its unique food offerings, says the 2020 fair is looking to be no exception. So they announced 33 new food items.
2024 fair.
Yes,
right?
So their fair. So the fair opens on the 22nd of August and runs until September 2. So 2-week fair. We are excited to announce our new foods. We work hard to present a diverse array each year and are excited to introduce new vendors, said a spokesperson. Some chefs who design dishes for the fair are award winners and semifinalists. There's a lot of fun new foods. We'll be talking about such as deep fried ranch dressing.
Ew, what?
Dill pickle tots.
Okay, I'm
chili
on board.
mango whip, And to wash it all down, cotton candy iced tea.
I don't know about that. The what did you call them? Dill pickle tots.
Okay.
That sounds like
So they break
fried
down
pickles.
7 of the foods that are going to be available this year that are new. So
All
it
right,
says
let's
the
hear about
deep
it.
fried ranch dressing. It is described by the State Fair as ranch dressing filling made with ranch seasoning, buttermilk, and cream cheese in a panko shell, deep fried and dusted with ranch powder. Okay, that sounds so disgusting. This is what they look like.
Oh,
it does not look
gross.
good at all. I just don't like that.
I was gonna say, if you love ranch, maybe that's awesome.
So it's a ranch. It's deep fried ranch. Comes with a side of hot honey sauce.
Oof.
Like, why would you dip ranch dressing in honey sauce? Like, what kind of monster are you?
Ranch is a dip. It is a side. It is not the main course. You don't have ranch as the thing you're eating. You dip your thing in ranch.
It says people in Minnesota love their ranch dressing. Diners will ask for a side of ranch with almost anything.
But yes, exactly. The side. You don't fry the side.
It says we've been working on this offering for more than a year and a half.
That's like having fried barbecue sauce. Like, it just doesn't.
We begin by brainstorming popular flavors and then figuring out ways we can deep fry it. Boy, there's a lot of creativity there.
That's the most American sentence I've ever heard.
Despite the unusual nature of the dish, creators say they think people will love it.
Yeah, they will. I'm sure they'll make lots of money off it. No question. Yeah.
This one sounds interesting. A walking shepherd's pie. So, walking
Ooh,
tacos.
Yeah.
This is a unique take on a hearty sit-down pub dish. Normally it could be a messy meal, but compacts it into a handheld pastry. So basically, it looks like a pasty.
I was just thinking. I was like, we already have that. That's
it's
called
a pasty.
Yep.
So it says the dish is made in hot pastries filled with braised ground beef, mashed potatoes, and a blend of onions, carrots, peas, tossed in herbed gravy. She just shut my thing
wants that microphone.
And so it will be available at the fair, and it does actually look pretty good. I would eat this. It looks like a pasty with a little bit heartier
I think a
filling.
pasty full of shepherd's pie.
I like the idea of ground
sounds...
beef instead of like the type
whatever
of,
they did up there.
It's just not. It's a little. She's so distracted. Okay, so the next one is. Not a sweet eclair, but a savory eclair.
So
choux pastry filled with a savory option. So it says there will be no chocolate or pastry cream found in their eclairs this year. Instead, the choux pastry will be available in lobster.
No.
Or banh mi, which is like
What's
it's a Vietnamese dish.
Oh, okay.
So the lobster eclair is inspired by a New England crab roll. Okay, it will be stuffed with lobster meat, celery, mayo, Cholula hot sauce, limes, chives, salt, and pepper.
If they didn't use the word eclair, I'd probably be on board. But if you have a sign that says eclair and I get up there and you serve me something that has lobster in it instead of cream, I'd be mad.
It looks like a lobster roll that they tried to put on top of an eclair. Like, that's a lobster roll. Normally, you put that on a bun, right? Yep. Like a roll. So it says, conversely, the banh mi eclair will contain pork confit, chicken liver pate, pickled carrot and daikon, cucumber, sriracha mayo, and garnished with micro cilantro. So the banh mi is a sandwich that originated in Vietnam. It's originally served on a baguette.
Okay, yeah, and that makes sense. Like that, I could totally get behind. It's just the choice of the word eclair. That's the mistake that they made. Because that's
just
such a
call
weird...
it a roll.
Yeah, just call it a roll, and then everybody,
right?
oh yeah, that sounds awesome.
It's
like
strange.
But you've set me up with the expectation of an eclair.
I have been lied to. The next one is grilled purple sticky rice. So it says, move over corn dogs, a new food on a stick is coming this year. The grilled purple sticky rice consists of purple sticky rice that is put on a stick and grilled on an open flame until crunchy. It's then topped with either shredded Hmong beef jerky or vegetarian option of pickled mushrooms. So it looks like it wants to be like a Chinese Asian dish because sticky rice is pretty common in Asian food.
Right.
But
it's
it is purple. It just looks brown because it's grilled or fried or whatever until it's crispy, and then garnished with herbs and a chili aioli. Okay.
Ooh,
I would try it.
Good.
I'm not super big on eating just rice. Like I definitely want to have it topped with some sort of protein.
Fair food, you need to be able to eat it while walking, and that looks.
Well, that's why it's
like
on a stick. I know you're gonna have it in one of those dishes that you're gonna have to hold over, like one of the paper plate things.
Yep.
So it says it was created by semifinalist Ye Vang. Who told news source, growing up we would eat toasted or grilled sticky rice. It was an incredibly easy snack my mom would make for us. This will be crunchy, toasty, and full of deep, rich flavor. Almost like you would eat an ice pop.
Nope. Again, you're just comparing it to the wrong thing.
You're using words that are not correct. Okay, so apparently Minnesota is home to a large amount of Hmong descent individuals. So it's an area of Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay. Well, all right, maybe that'll be a big pull.
They're trying to diversify their offerings
That's smart,
to really
that makes sense.
appeal to more masses. So the creator says it's a delicious, crunchy grilled sticky rice with mom's hot sauce and dad's Hmong beef jerky.
Okay, I'm on board now. I didn't realize that they were reaching out to a specific. Now some of these make more sense, knowing what we know about. Okay, they're appealing to a wider audience. That makes more sense.
So the next one will appeal to the Swedish descendants, or Swedish ancestry of Minnesota, which
IKEA
has
furniture.
No, Swedish soda sliders. So apparently, 7% of Minnesota's population is of Swedish ancestry.
Oh, that's fun.
So apparently they're creating a burger slider with nods to Swedish foods. So the patty is a cranberry wild rice meatball, and it's served with dill Havarti cheese and a relish of beets, onions, red peppers, lingonberries, and cranberries.
Doesn't
I like
sound
dill
good to
Havarti,
me
and
at all.
I would like cranberry wild rice meatball, maybe.
But that's like a veggie patty.
I
That
don't
didn't
like beets,
sound.
though.
Yeah, that's not a slider.
No, I mean, it has wild rice meatball. I don't know. It says meat.
Oh, okay. So there is meat. I was listening for a
Yeah, it
meat
does
and I
sound
didn't hear
vegetarian.
anything.
Oh, so they're basically Swedish meatballs on a bun.
Oh, well, all right. Yeah, okay.
And then the next one is a Swedish ice cream sundae, which has... So lingonberries are a big deal in Sweden, right? Everybody knows lingonberries are a popular
I did not
thing
know
in,
that, but
in
yes.
Sweden. So it's apparently just a vanilla ice cream sundae covered in lingonberry jam, sprinkled with Swedish ginger cookie crumbles, and garnished with a ginger cookie heart.
I'm on
It's
board.
an ice cream
Yeah,
sundae.
that sounds good.
Like, that's not anything... So the next one is a patata frita focaccia. So focaccia is a type of bread, right? So it's a sandwich.
Oh, okay.
An interesting. Oh no, it's
I'm showing my total ignorance here.
This is a ice cream variety.
Nice.
Okay, so it's a sweet treat. It's normally a. This is so confusing. It's a dessert item with a mouthful of a name to match. It combines savory flavors with sweet treats. I don't know about this.
I'm not usually on board with that.
So the name refers to the Spanish word for potato chips. Patata frita is potato chip
Oh, that's fine.
in
Yeah,
Spanish.
I see that.
Okay, so they're taking kettle chip flavored ice cream
Kettle chip flavored ice cream.
and
Which is, nope. That's
potato
weird.
chip flavored ice cream is sandwiched by focaccia bread and topped with honey butter, kettle chips, and herbs. Nope, no thank you. Nope. I can get on board with basil in ice cream maybe, or like a lavender basil type of thing, or a little
doesn't
bit
even sound
as
good.
a hint. But don't put
Potato
herbs
chips.
and focaccia bread on my vanilla ice cream.
Sounds like they're trying to make an ice cream sandwich out of like savory things, and it just sounds wrong.
I don't know. I am so. Other honorable mentions not included in this include Blazing Greek Bites, Chili Mango Whip, Cookie Butter Crunch Mini Donuts, Cotton
Okay.
Candy Iced Tea Crab Boil Wings, Deep Fried Halloumi Cheese. That sounds actually really good.
Yeah.
Ham and Pickle Roll Up on a Potato Skin, Mocha Madness Shaved Ice, Bison Meatballs. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Peanut
mess
Butter
around with
Bacon
some-
Cakes.
Yes.
Strawberries and Cream Waffle Stick, Strawberry Lemonade Donut, Sweet Corn Cola Float, Sweet Heat Bacon Crunch, and a Wrangler Waffle Burger. So,
Sweet
man,
corn
these...
cola float.
It doesn't explain it. It just says these will also be
These
offered
are
at the
also
fair. So,
featured.
these
Some
are
of those-
so weird.
I would try maybe like a third of what you listed there. Like a bunch of it I would not. But if somebody was getting me one, I'd probably grab, those are pretty yummy. All right, so you said it was in Minnesota?
Minnesota. So head to Minnesota State Fair.
I'll be
Enjoy
there.
yourself.
End of
some
August. We'll take our vacation. That's what we'll do. We'll go to
banh mi eclairs.
Minnesota and eat crab cakes that are pretending to be eclairs.
No, thank you.
All right, so I have a story that I have seen it a bunch of times, and I've ignored it. Actually, for years, this story has come up. It keeps popping up. But I was like, nope, I'm not interested in alien stories. I think they're silly. But I finally clicked on it because I was just sort of like, well, all right. I didn't have any other good stories, so I was like, I'll find it. And it's fascinating, bizarre. So it says, mysterious monolith appears outside of Las Vegas. A reflective structure was found on a hiking trail in a desert national wildlife refuge. So basically, there's a 6.5 foot tall cube, I guess. Well, no, it's like a little mini skyscraper. Like it's a tall rectangle with clean edges that appears to be made of all mirrors. It's just mirrors on all sides. So it's a pole, basically. It's a 6 foot pole sticking up out of the ground, made out of metal that is reflective.
Okay.
Right. What's weird about it is that this one has happened. They have discovered these all over the world.
Oh, wow.
So members of the city's Metro and Search and Rescue found the mirrored structure near Gas Peak, a trail in the Desert National Wildlife Refuge. New York Times covered it. They have no idea where it came from. We see a lot of weird things when people go hiking, not being prepared for the weather, not bringing enough water, but check this out. And then the police department took a picture of it and posted it on social media.
Okay.
How did it get here? It's made of metal, but these monoliths, I don't know why they're calling it that, but they have been appearing in various locations around the globe since November 2020.
Oh, wow.
They've just been showing up all over the world. And so the first one was found in 2020 when a helicopter crew discovered one in Utah desert. Somebody thought it was a new wave artist, like an artist who was planting them somewhere. Yeah. But nobody's taking credit for it. Some people thought maybe it was a fan of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay.
The helicopter pilot said, "I have to admit, it's one of the strangest things I've come across in all my years of flying." The metallic structures evoke Stanley Kubrick's 1968 film, which features similar monoliths likely designed by aliens that mysteriously appear during key moments of humanity's evolution. So there's this idea of it's inspired by alien stories, right? But I still, it's probably an artist or something.
It's probably some random person.
But then what's weird is that they disappear. After they get found, they go away. So they're there, they make headlines, then they disappear. The origins are never discovered. It has showed up in Piatra Neamt, Romania, Pine Mountain in California, England's Isle of Wight, and in the years that followed, nearly 250 of these have been found all over the world. USA Today and various different people have covered these stories. Because of their mysterious origins, they always spark speculation. Many attribute them to artists, pranksters, or even extraterrestrial activity.
Of course.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
They're out there putting up statues.
The Las Vegas police decided to use the opportunity to remind hikers about trail safety as the internet gets to work on this mystery. So they just used it as a little promo. Look at this weird thing we found. Yep. It's just so weird. You see why I avoided it. I first read the story and I was like, "That's silly. What a silly thing." But then it keeps happening. Weird. I read about the Utah one years ago.
Yeah, I read something actually recently about the one in Las Vegas.
Big deal. And the Vegas one, and the monolith is being stored in an undisclosed location. So they took this one, while public authorities determine the most appropriate way to dispose of and or store the item. It remains unknown how the item got to the location or who might be responsible. So whoever's doing it isn't taking credit. If it's an artist, they're not putting their signature on it. So that makes me think pranksters.
Yeah.
Someone who thinks it's funny to
Well, and it who's to say a couple, it wasn't someone trying to, and then all of a sudden a bunch of copycats do it,
that's
and then
fun.
you can't tell who's doing it because everybody's doing it.
They're not crazy. They're not crazy structures. It's 6.5 feet tall. It's
That's not
huge,
that tall,
and it's just a rectangle, a long pole, a square pole. Like a 4x4 pole made out of mirrors, and it's okay, that's fun. It doesn't. I don't know. It's just sort of
very strange.
What a weird thing.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
But So that's all I had. Are you ready, Miss Maggie, for sponsor? She's so chatty.
She is very into this.
Oh, she is.
Are you? I am ready for sponsors.
You ready for sponsor your life? All right. What do you got?
So this week we decided, and by we I mean I decided to go to the zoo with the kids.
I had to go to work like a sap.
So I took the kids to the John Ball Zoo, and that was so much fun. It's been.
I've never been.
I grew up in Grand Rapids area. We went to the John Ball Zoo a couple times for field trips when I was a kid. Went a couple more times when I was older. I have not been to the John Ball Zoo, as I told Liam, in many, many years. And it was so fun. It really is a good zoo. It's big, it's not quite as big as the Detroit Zoo, but a lot of walking, and a lot of it spans a nice area. It's very nicely shaded, so the kids didn't get sunburn like I was concerned they might.
That's awesome.
And we were there for 5 hours, so it was impressive.
That's a day.
We went in the morning, brought a lunch, and then we were gone by the afternoon. But like, it was so much fun. They have a dinosaur exhibit right now, and the kids love that because they move and they're like motion sensors. So you walk past, and then the sounds and the movement. And Asher was a little scared, but all the other kids were like, "These are so cool."
That's awesome.
And Asher, it was fun.
Not Ezra?
No, Asher was a little scared. Ezra kept saying, "Oh, I don't want all these battery powered dinosaurs. When are we going to see the real dinosaurs?" And Amos just whipped around and said, "Oh, there are no real dinosaurs, Ezra. They all died a long time ago." So it was very exciting for all the kids, and it was just a good day. We had a really fun time, and it was like the perfect day to go too, because it was like, it was busy. I mean, it was summertime, at the zoo, but it was good. I'm glad we went in the morning though, because it was less busy in the morning than it was when we were leaving in the afternoon. So it was fun. I would highly recommend if anybody's in the Grand Rapids area, exhibit, go to the John Ball Zoo. It was so much fun yesterday.
The pictures were so stinking cute. Like it looks like you guys had a great time.
Yeah, it was cool. How about you?
I'm going to go back to a classic. So I try not to recommend coffee shops too often because I spend all of my life in coffee shops.
Seriously.
But I love them. And we live in Grand Rapids now, which is like the land of the coffee shop, So like in previous cities, I always like to find local haunts. But then, you get your Big B or your Starbucks or kind of your big chains or whatever. But around here, there's some really good local places. And so there's a place called the Stray Cafe. And I always confused it with the Stray Dog because there's a picture of a dog on the sign, but it's called the Stray Cafe. It's a coffee shop just a little bit south of where we live. It's actually between here, like our house and work for me, between our house and the church. But it's a really cute little shop, but it's not just a coffee place. They also serve food, and then they have like live music and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And actually the first time I went, I was meeting someone there, and they said, find a coffee shop near your house and we'll meet there. And I said, cool. So we did that. And I get there, and there's one of the baristas took a break from serving people to go up on the stage and paint a painting. It was like live painting while I was working on my sermon. So that was really cool. I was like sitting there writing, and I look over, and there's like an artist doing his thing over there. And it was like, this is cool. And I've heard that they have really good live music. I got a peek at their sound system, and they have like a nice digital board and all this cool stuff. And it's like, this is like an event. This is a place. It's not just a coffee shop. So the Stray Cafe, really cute place. I can't remember the name of the road it's off of. It's not far from our house, and it's maybe a couple, like 2-3 miles.
Okay, cool.
But it was really fun, and so I want to definitely pump that up. I've been there 3 or 4 times now, because people ask where I want to go, and I always recommend it because I'm enjoying it. So you're right. I know. It's delicious. So good coffee, and I'm assuming the rest of the menu is good too. I haven't touched it yet. They do like lunch and dinner, and I think they even do drinks like alcohol and stuff in the evenings. Wow. Like I don't know, but it's a whole thing. It's a really big place. So yes, it's very fun, and I definitely sponsor my life today.
Nice.
All right. So we'll talk just briefly about, we'll give a little book review. That's what we'll do for the rest of the episode, if you're ready for that. I have a little bit. I brought up the lady's website. So her name is Abby. She was a mom to 10 kids. She's married, Bible-believing Christian, and much more. So says her website, which is misformama.net. She's unapologetically messy, maddening, and miraculous world of motherhood. Mm-hmm. She's big on alliteration, apparently. Yes. But I remember when you got this book, and I saw it on our coffee table, but I haven't read it. But then in our conversations, occasionally I will say something, and you're like, yes, that is described or detailed in this book.
I'm sorry.
Right? No, it's good. It's good. So it tells me that I think I would really enjoy that book.
Yes. So Abby Halberstadt, she has written the Heart Is Not the Same Thing as Bad book that I also talked about.
Right. We talked about that one a few weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple episodes previously. So the M is for Mama book, it's really good. I like it. It's very practical, and she does a lot of kind of the whole thrust of the book is like, this is the narrative that the world gives us. This is what our culture says. And this is what Christ followers should be, thinking about. This is how we should be acting as Christ followers. So
that's kind of a Beatitudes lineup, the way Jesus says, like, the world says this,
exactly,
but I say
I say it really is. It's like, it's very humbling / eye-opening to be like, the world says parenthood is hard, just got to make it through the day and keep these, little brats alive till bedtime, and then I can whine a clock away until I've melted into the couch with my episode of whatever or scrolled my phone for hours.
Yep.
And it's like, but as Christ followers, we have to remember like this. And it's like, you know, the threshold of you're doing good enough is really not a great benchmark to give yourself. Like,
I remember you saying that. Yep.
Is that really all you want to do is be good enough? Like, you're doing good enough. And it's like, okay, there's balance there. Like, yes, it's true that it can be difficult, but doing a good enough job is not exactly high praise for you as a parent. You're not exactly doing great things for your child and their future.
Like, I read a thing recently about how millennials killed the I hate my spouse form of humor, which you go back 50 years, the jokes of my wife is my ball and chain and she like it's miserable being married. Those jokes were so common. But our generation is like, no, we're going to get married and love it. Like we really leaned into that. But I think our battle is not disliking our spouse, which was like the jokes of maybe our parents' generation, but our generation is the I don't like being a parent.
Yeah.
And I think we get to, I hope the next generation sort of picks it up and is like, actually being a parent is awesome. Not something I tolerate, but something I like, I would, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it exactly the same, maybe have more babies sooner. You know, like I had no idea the level of joy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that's absolutely accurate. And I think, you know, it's kind of there's a calibration eventually, but like I feel like there's always the pendulum swing that can, you know, be one way too far and then the other way, and then there's the overcorrection and everything, and it's like we're definitely in that realm with today in the kids and the way children are viewed, and like it's almost as if like we've had the kids and now we have the kids and we have to actually parent them, and it's like, oh, I wish they would just go to bed and stop being so bratty, and it's like, but you actually have to do the hard work now that you're the parent. Like, yes, it's less convenient for you, and it's freaking hard. Like, seriously, I get it. Like, I have days where I'm like, it would be so much easier if. But it's like, no, we're, as parents and followers of Christ, we're called to do, you know, certain things. We can't just, you know, be like, shrug your shoulders and be like, oh, but it's just too difficult and I just want to make it to bedtime. Right. It's an interesting narrative, but I really do appreciate the book because she's very like, she kind of outlines the different categories and the different areas of parenting, and then she kind of gives, you know, the breakdown of what the world says versus what Christ says in his word, and then she has like a prayer, and then she has like a meditation, and this is your scripture, and then she has 3 suggestions like reach out to your accountability. I really like this because she has like she has the mentality of, as a lot of like authors of, you know, parenting books, especially Christian moms, are like, you shouldn't be doing this alone. You should have your village, you should have your community, you should have your people.
For sure.
Whether that be women that are peers that are the same age as you, or older women who you can reach out to who have already walked that road,
which is awesome.
Who are resources who can really be helpful to you. And it's like, reach out to those people if you're going through something difficult. Someone you trust, someone who did a really good job as a parent, who you really admire.
Right.
And I think that's really helpful because a lot of times we just think, oh, I don't need other people, I'll just Google it, you know, and that's not helpful. Like, that's not a community who knows you. That's not someone who knows you or your kids. And is that really the best advice that you get, is to just Google it? Whereas it's like, if you're talking with someone in community who you're close with, they know you and your story and your kids, and they know Christ. So it's like, that's the most important thing that they're going to keep turning you back to is, you know, is it in the Bible? Is it biblical? Is it, you know, what God wants for you and your kids? And so it's like, oh, that's actually really helpful. So it's a very I really like her practicality. I really like how straightforward she is. She's very like, this is how it is. This is, you know, it's not a lot of like feel good fluff. It's just very, it's very to the point, and I really appreciate her directness.
That was the vibe I got when you talked about the other book, the Hard is not the, what was it?
Same thing as bad.
Yeah, hard is not the same thing as bad. Mm-hmm. Very much the like, it's not fluff, but there's also like a celebration. It's not. It's.
I'm not saying she's like, you know, super grating and she's like awful. I think she's. I appreciate her honesty and her very direct way of approaching the topic, because it's true. I feel like that's a hard dish to serve to people, to be like, no, it's totally, you need to just do whatever feels best for you. If you're wondering if you're a good parent, you're already a good parent. Like, that's not true at all. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm running a race and I'm dead last, and it's like, well, you ran the race, you're already good enough, you're a winner. And it's like, no, I'm absolutely the last person there. Like, if my goal was just to simply run a race, that's one thing. But if my goal is simply to just be a parent, then you're right, I don't need to do anything. But if I want to be a good parent and raise Christ-like children, I have to have a higher goal than just finishing the day and letting that, like, what was it that we talked about? Like, well, everybody was fed, everybody survived the day. And it's like, but that doesn't speak. Is that really the standard? Just keeping the kid, keeping the kid alive. Years? Like that's not a benchmark to be proud of at all. Like, I would hope that I would be able to enrich my kids' lives and raise them to be good followers of Christ to, as an example to the world, instead of just, well, I kept them alive, I fed them. They seemed to have an okay time. They laughed a few times, but like, did they do anything that, helped shape their faith? Or are they, learning how to be good humans? Are they, so many things. So and
that's one of the things that, so like we kind of have, there's two standards. So there's the parents who say the bare, like, I'm just doing the bare minimum. I'm keeping them alive. That's my only focus. And it's like, okay, that's just not enough. But then you have on the other side, like the Jonathan Haidt book of the anxious generation, talking about like the stress and the helicopter parent and way too much over. And it's like,
oh my gosh.
Well, and I just think there's like this stress to be the good parent. It's super overwhelming for parents, and they totally, and then honestly, I think there's so much advice on what is a good parent. And it sounds like, at least what I'm hearing, is that her focus on raising children who know Christ, which I think a lot of us have kind of lost. It's like, well, yeah, I took them to church so that they would be good people. And it's like, no, you don't take kids to church so they'll be good people. You take them to church so they will know Christ. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the most important part. And
because isn't that what we always we always say that, like, when you become a Christian, your life speaks for itself. You are, we follow Christ, or we do things not so that we can just be a good person, but so that we can point others to Christ. And it's like, it's the same for our kids. We're not just raising them to be good people. We're raising them to point others to Christ. And so it's like, you open the Bible and that's your guideline for that. And then from that, you hope to pour into them so that they can pour into others. And it's like, it's the basis for everything. But it is interesting because it's like, I do want my kids to be good people, but they do that because they're Christians, because they know Christ, not just because they're legalists and they have to do it because that's what they're supposed to do,
100%, yeah.
So it is, but it's very good. I appreciate her work. I'm actually very excited. She has a new book that she's working on currently that she's claims hopefully maybe will be released next year. So I'm like, oh, okay, because she's intended her book to be a series of 3, like a trilogy almost of
really?
Parenting books. So she's got M is for Momma, Hard is Not the Same Thing as Bad, and then she has another one coming out next year. So I'm very hopeful because I really like her stuff. I think she's a very insightful person who's got a lot of experience, and she's got good words to say. So,
well, raising 10 kids, I mean, the picture that's pretty crazy. Yeah. That's a lot of kids.
Her oldest is 8. He just turned 18, and then their youngest is
so
like
all in the house.
I think they have 2 3-year-old twin boys as their youngest. So
wow,
they have a couple of multiples in there. That's
of course. That's usually how it is with the really big families. They didn't have 10 separate 9-month pregnancies. There's usually. Right. Well, I was very impressed with just some of the things that you have said coming out of the books. What would you say? So you mentioned the format of you've heard it said, or the world tells you to do it this way. What's your most impactful one, or one that you remember, one of the different chapters that was like, the world says it this way, and then you...
Honestly, the first chapter of the M is for Momma book, where she's really just kind of outlining, like, our culture survives on memes of, the kids are so hard, and we live in a culture of, like, relatability is the highest form of like acceptability or whatever. And so it's like, if I can relate to you as a parent, that's the most important thing. And it's like, no, maybe actually having good advice and good parenting strategies or good helpfulness is better. Like if you and I can agree that we had a really hard day, that's the most important thing. It's like, if you're only looking for relatability as your benchmark
with you emotionally,
right? It's like, or if I say as a parent, like, my kid had an awful meltdown when we were at the park today, and then we got home, and then they pooped their pants, and then I could barely get dinner on the table, and we both ended, the end of the day, we were both screaming, and everybody was crying. Like, and then someone else reaches out and says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to hear that that's your life too. That's my life," and that's how it ends. Yep. Like, it's just. But don't you want something more like that? Yeah. I found to be very helpful, because it's like, that's true. We kind of live in a world of memes are all that matters. I can agree with someone and relate to them, and that's really all I need to know, that I'm doing okay. I'm just like, that is the benchmark. We're all doing exactly the same sort of awful, and that's all we can hope for. And it's like, well, how hopeless is that? But that's the narrative of the world. There is no hope. Yeah. Like, but it's like, but Christ tells us, like, here's a better way. And it's like, I found that to be very helpful, because like just within the first chapter, I was like, well, she's really bringing the truth here. Like,
well, and
it was very, very
And
yeah,
I think
it's good.
part of that might speak to just the general lack of connectedness in our culture more broadly, because I do think that is the starting point. You know, there's the admission of, hey, I struggle with the same thing you struggle with, but you don't stay there, right?
Right.
Like in church, right? It's like, hey, I'm a sinner too.
Yep.
I struggle with this thing, or I struggle with this burden, or this, sin nature, whatever's going on in my life. And it's like, yeah, that's super helpful as a starting point to have.
But don't stay there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're having a hard time learning Spanish. I'm having a hard time learning Spanish too. End conversation.
Done. It's like
you're having a hard time learning Spanish. I am too.
Together.
Let's work together so that we can figure out a way to do it better, so that it doesn't have to be so much pushback. Like, you don't have to. It's like bemoaning your terrible day and then staying in that wallowing. Like, you don't have to wallow.
Yep.
You can climb out and realize that, like, God's gift of grace helps us be better. And that's the thing about, like, Christian parenting versus the rest of the world, is like, there is no hope. Like, it's just, this is the way that it is, and it's always going to be this way. And whereas Christ is like, no, we've been redeemed. Like, we can look forward to that, and we can offer our kids that, same grace, and we can, go better from here. It's like, it's just an interesting perspective, because it's like not the narrative of the world at all. So I appreciate that.
No, and I love it. I do. I think that's awesome. All right. So the title is M is for Mama. Same author who wrote Hard is Not the Same Thing as Bad by Abby Halberstadt.
Yeah, it's quite a mouthful.
Yeah, she just on her website just says, "Hi, I'm Abby," and it's like, okay, tell me, give me the full name. But M is for Mama. I mean, that's a pretty simple title to remember. So definitely recommend. Go look that up. I never actually read it. I actually remember asking you though, because when you were reading it, you were just like. Well, like when you get excited about anything, and the stuff you were saying, I was like, wow, that's brilliant. This is so good. And I remember asking you, I was like, well, would I enjoy this? And you're like, well, a lot of it is aimed at moms. Like it makes
it's
more
true.
sense.
It is. I'm not saying it would be only specific, but she does write as a woman coming from being a mother of a mother of kids. So, I mean, it makes sense. You would be drawn to it. I would probably wouldn't be as likely to read a book called D is for Dads or something.
Right, exactly.
Nice.
Well, hey friends, thanks so much for listening to this goofy podcast, this barely shortened episode at all. It's pretty much our normal length. But
with a very wiggly baby.
With a very wiggly baby. She's like trying to climb out of my arm as I'm speaking. But we like making this podcast. We hope you enjoy listening. If you want to help us out, head over to Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a review. Reach out to us on our social media pages. We'd love to hear from you. We just think that that's a lot of fun. If you have any book recommendations, let us know.
Yeah.
You ready to send us out with Mom Joke of the Week?
Yeah.
What do you got?
My dog is a genius. I asked him, what's 2 minus 2? He said nothing.
Very impressive.
Yes, I know. Oh, boy.
But